Welcome to Research Business Daily Report, made possible by RBDR's exclusive community at patreon.com. If you're a regular viewer of this video series, regardless of who you work for and where you work or what you do in research, please visit patreon.com/RBDR. I'm Bob Lederer. There's a lot of industry conversation about gamification and how and where it fits now and perhaps in the future as a research element. But truth be told, there is very limited expertise when it comes to that innovative portion of the field, except for individuals like Betty Adamou, who operates Research Through Gaming in the UK. Now, she's been at this since 2011, and that makes her a bit of a graybeard when it comes to time in the field, as well as actual gamification experience and expertise. And believe me, as I mentioned, it is in short supply. So when we asked her what is changing in the research gamification area, she did offer several tantalizing subjects. Today, straight from her upcoming book, Games and Gamification in Market Research, Increasing Consumer Engagement in Research for Business Success, Betty shares some of the misconceptions that far too many researchers have about gamification. Betty?
So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that using what I call game-based research as an umbrella term for any piece of research that might use gamification or games or something in between. The biggest misconceptions are that these methodologies are just for children, just for young people. And I can understand maybe how some of those misconceptions have come about, because maybe people still associate video games being played by teenagers, but actually in Research for Gaming we have seen people of all ages take part in our research games. And actually, if you look at the video games industry and social gamers and people that take part in games via the App Store or the equivalent for Android, there are people in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s taking part in games all over the world. So it's really, not only is it a misconception, but actually a little bit outdated to think that games are just for children. Another misconception is that changing the way a question is worded on its own in a survey makes that a game. And while that is certainly has shown to be an effective way to create more engagement and elicit more richer responses, that on its own as a kind of design method, it does not constitute a game or gamification, because games and gamification need for what I call game ingredients. There needs to be a goal, there needs to be rules, there needs to be some form of feedback for the participant, and there needs to be opportunities for autonomy. Now, you can have all of that in a survey and gamify it or make it into a game, and by doing that you might change the way the questions are worded, and that's fine. But just changing the way questions are worded on its own without all of those other ingredients does not make it into a game. Another misconception is that games are all about kind of bright colours and fancy graphics, and they really are not. There are so many games that are just very kind of crude in terms of their output, right? Like 8-bit, lo-fi graphics. And certainly these were the games that I grew up with and I played. And if we look at games that were out on the Atari and the original Nintendo, and then the Super Nintendo, and even old arcade games, they were really popular, really successful, and actually many of them have been reprogrammed so that they can be playable on modern day devices like our, tablets and mobile phones. That's how popular they are. So actually, making a game for research or gamifying a survey, you don't need photorealistic graphics of avatars and virtual environments and things like that. You don't even need to make everything kind of like 3D and stuff, unless you need to, unless it helps the research. But certainly you don't need to do that in order to encourage intrinsic engagement and play. You can have very crude graphics as long as the game itself or the gamified survey itself engages people, encourages play, and essentially gets the insight and the data that you need. And the other interesting thing, Bob, is that games are really just kind of amplified surveys. If we think about even the way that surveys work, how participants respond, and then they might be redirected to another question or another activity. Games do that. There are lots of games now where they give you a choice of what you want to do as a player in order to be redirected down one path or another path in a different kind of narrative. So actually, games and surveys have a lot of these crossovers and similarities, and surveys are just unrealised games. Bob, there are 16 misconceptions in the book, but I'm afraid you'll have to go out and buy the book in order to read what those are.
We're linking to Betty Adamou's book and her website that she has set up for it. And it includes, of course, how to pre-order it, which we highly recommend. That's your Research Business Daily Report, made possible by members of RBDR's exclusive community at the crowdfunding platform known as Patreon.com. We thank our regular RBDR viewers who have become supporters, and that is a growing number out there, which obviously puts a smile on our face. They've expressed their appreciation for our novel news, insights, and commentary that's delivered not just to them, but to all of you out there every Monday through Thursday of most weeks. Even small contributions from individual viewers make a difference and can ensure the continuation of RBDR and our new RBDR podcast. Our current patrons represent a cross-section of the market research marketplace, both individuals and companies, research businesses of distinctly different sizes, widely varied types of research that they're conducting, client, supplier, and those on the support services side of research, and researchers from literally all over the world. Of course, we want to put a special thanks out there to our latest patrons, DVL Smith's David Smith and Jeff Spitzer. Now, since you're still watching the video at this point, I think it's fair to say we've delivered some value your way, and that is your reason to become an RBDR patron. So, please visit our community today at patreon.com/RBDR. Select the level of patronage that is most appropriate and comfortable for you. And whatever choice you make, we want to say thank you. Have a great research day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.